on November 26th, which is the anniversary of Congress arriving in Annapolis in 1783, we had a Continental Congress Festival here, the first one that's ever been done. And what took place during that festival were 3 days of talks and lectures and seminars, and also a traveling exhibit of the time period of 1774 to 89, which included the events that occurred in Annapolis between 1783 and 1786. And probably the biggest thrill of that was the return to Annapolis of the Treaty of Paris proclamation that's in private hands. This is a document that is in perfect shape. It has both signatures of Thomas Mifflin and Charles Thomson. It has the seal of the Congress in the corner, and it came back to this city for the first time since it was ratified. We had a loan for 3 days, and we displayed it in a special room at the festival, and we had local people, historians, academics, school children, politicians came in to see this incredible document that Annapolis is famous for. And it gave us the idea that, you know, this history is not well known enough. No one knows there were 14 presidents before George Washington. Nobody knows outside of Maryland that Annapolis was the capital for 2 years, or that Washington resigned from the army here, or the Treaty of Paris was ratified here. Nobody knows that there was a conference in 1786, which in this city, Annapolis, which led to Philadelphia. People forget about the Articles of Confederation entirely. You know, the books that we read and that we use will say, well, now that the Revolutionary War was over, things weren't working out so well, so in 1787, and it just skips that middle period. Well, that middle period between the Revolutionary War and the Constitution is a very significant period. Not only does it bridge those two events, but you can't get from one to the other without the middle period. That's where Annapolis realized that the document that had guided them through wartime was not adequate for peacetime. And this city played a very important role in bridging the Constitution to the Revolutionary War period. There's a middle. It doesn't just go from one to the other. And without that connection, that bridge, we don't realize why a second Constitution was necessary, and what lessons were learned from the Revolutionary War, and how to improve the problems of today by looking at how the problems of their day were addressed. Those things are very necessary to understand the country as a whole. And so what we'd like to do here in Annapolis is make this the home of the National Continental Congress Center, the entire 1774 to 89 period, with a special emphasis on the years in the middle when Annapolis was the capital, when all these incredible events took place. Philadelphia has built a National Constitution Center that's looking at 1787 to 89. We want to be the headquarters of all things pre-Constitution, and that this would be a national home for America's first government, and that anyone who came to Annapolis would visit the State House and the Naval Academy and City Dock, and they would come here to the National Continental Congress Center and have touch screens, interactive displays, lectures, author signings, festivals, reenactment, and after interacting with all of those elements of history, no one who came here and visited such a place would ever forget that there were 14 presidents before Washington, or the important things that took place in Annapolis. When we think of how this country was formed, we need to have it as a three-step process: Revolution, Annapolis, Constitution. We're the bridge.